Okay, sound check ready?
Sound check. And then what? And then go or what?
Yes, yes, you can start now. Sound good.
Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic
Sounds
check.
good. We can go.
We good?
Yep.
All right, I'm good to go. Start.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right, here we go. Hey y'all, this is Mark G. Abolitionist on the air with you at KEXU 96.1 FM LP, Revolution Radio, where we explore the connection between imperial war and incarceration. I don't limit myself to being a prison abolitionist because there are more institutions and structures that I seek to abolish than just incarceration. For example, white supremacy and racism, two different things. Male supremacy and patriarchy, two different things. Class supremacy and wage oppression, two different things. And imperial war. Yes, imperial war is in fact an institution of the American Empire. Let me be perfectly clear. The U.S. military is an institution of the American Empire, as we all know. However, it serves the institution of imperial war. The need for imperial conquest shapes and defines the U.S. military. In fact, the European settler need for indigenous lands, for the conquest of Indian lands, made the development of a military necessary. Any and all who resisted were imprisoned or killed. The first reservations were in fact prisons. I'm going to talk about Vietnam. Y'all make sure you also hear Afghanistan, Iraq, Palestine, and any and every inner city in America. The time of killing done, 42 died that morning in 10 minutes. The time of murder and rape begun, cleared a village, burned it to the ground. The time of killing done, the time of murder and rape begun, a howl in the silence of our movement. Our terror become bloodthirsty. We, the teeth of the rabid beast, set to sink into flesh, ripping and tearing, moved into the village, a snarl in our approach. In Oakland, California, we have villages all over the city. They're on private land, they're on public land, they're on institutional land, they're on Caltrans land. These villages are referred to as homeless encampments, tent camps, but they're villages. They're places where people come together to live collectively for support and companionship and security. And they live in tents, they live in shanties that they construct shanties out of pallets, use shopping carts to transport their belongings. Some have tents, some have tarps. But these are villages. These are places where people live. People who have been forced out of the structure of the city, forced to survive off the land. And with human ingenuity and
Okay, I think about it.
okay, we're good. Sorry about that, folks. That wasn't technical. That wasn't a technical problem. That was an Amber Alert. That's that thing that the state does every now and then in case they need to warn us of an impending disaster. So as I was saying, and there goes another one on my phone in my pocket. So I'm just gonna blase through it until it goes away. Actually, there it is. It's gone. All right. I think we've got the alerts out of the way. Um, and yes, there is a catastrophe looming. The catastrophe that's looming is the destruction of these villages. The poem that I did about Vietnam, where I participated in the clearing of a village and its destruction, is the same mindset and the same procedures that are employed right here in Oakland, California. When the city comes with garbage trucks, front loaders, bulldozers, and destroys people's housing. And destroys people's housing. And, and destroys people's housing. They take people's belongings, destroy the structures that they've developed, and force people out. Force people back into the streets, destroying any community that they've developed. It's the same mentality, the same ways of thinking that had us destroy villages in Vietnam, being employed to destroy villages here in America. It's not quite as bloodthirsty yet. You notice I said yet, because I think that will be coming in the not too distant future. I would love to be wrong on that, but I think we need to prepare for these types of eventualities. I'm going to swing into talking about male supremacy and patriarchy a little bit. I talked about that some last week. I'm going to delve into that again a little bit as I continue to develop what I mean by male supremacy and patriarchy. As earlier I've discussed white supremacy and racism. And to come will be class supremacy and wage oppression. I define male supremacy. Male supremacy is a hierarchical supremacist system of organization among men, such that all power and wealth flows to men. Male supremacy is a system of organization. Patriarchy is an ideological philosophy that justifies, supports, and maintains male supremacist organization through the subjugation, oppression, and punishment of women and girls. How is it that we men submit ourselves to this process of male supremacist organization? How is it that men who have superior intellect, have superior physical abilities, subordinate ourselves to men of lesser intellect and lesser physical ability? There is a class structure involved in this, and we will get into in subsequent shows. I think the way that comes down is that if we men subordinate ourselves to the supremacist hierarchical structure of male supremacy, we are guaranteed at least one woman that we can do anything we want to. This is the institution of marriage in a formal structured sense. In engaging in this, we men also must take on the responsibility of repressing the woman and all of her female offspring, moment to moment, day to day. We must control their lives completely, oppressing them and suppressing them. How is it that we carry that out? We carry these things out in the most blatant senses through force, through absolute brute force and power. In our modern societies, we don't necessarily see that very often. Though we do know that women are battered and beaten all the time. We do know that women and girls are raped all the time. We know these things go on. These are the trappings of the physical force that's used against women and girls to subjugate them, to oppress them when they resist that subjugation, and to punish them when they rise up against their oppression. Rape is a brutal form of punishment. It goes on. Wars of women's rape all over the world. This isn't something that just happens here in America. This is something that goes on all over the world. America has a particular vengeance with it. That's very clear. And that vengeance goes into the very roots and establishment of this country. Indigenous women, the Indians of Turtle Island, the indigenous women were raped and slaughtered mercilessly. In the old days in the West, it was not uncommon for men to carry their tobacco in a pouch made from the breasts of indigenous women. Women were killed and their bodies were mutilated. The flesh of their breasts was tanned, turned into a pouch for them to carry their tobacco. These things were done. These things continue to be done. Indigenous women suffer the highest rates of rape and disappearance on this continent. The process has not changed. The way it's carried out may change, may vary. The technologies applied and used change and vary. But the process is still the subjugation and oppression and punishment of women. This is Mark G. I'm going to close out now. We'll go into this deeper in my next episode next week. Probably going to spend another couple of episodes discussing male supremacy and patriarchy. And I'm not trying to go into it in great detail. I just want to give an overview and stuff so there's an understanding of these things when I go into discussing imperial war and its relationship to incarceration. And bear in mind that the largest prison population per capita in the world is in the United States. And the largest prison population in the United States is in the state of California. And the fastest growing segment of the U.S. prison population is women. This is Mark G, Abolitionist, saying we are the ones we're waiting for. Dare to struggle, dare to win. Join with me, the Prisoners of Conscience Committee, All of Us or None, formerly incarcerated and convicted peoples and families movement. When we say, what's the call? Free them all. Dare to struggle, dare to win. All power to the people. Ashe.
Right now, if you want to talk about like your comfort music and everything else, sure.
Got it.